Look at his face. Worse than a women's main event. And Makhachev's entering GOAT conversations right now. Undeniable. I'll be the first to say it. Lame pussy, man. I'm sorry. You're a pussy bitch, man.
Like, oh, what you should be doing right now is just appreciating the greatness of Islam Makhachev. Usually we say that with some kind of like memorable triumph. And this fight didn't have that.
Like it was going to be another Islam Makhachev masterclass, certainly after the first 2 rounds. But a funny thing happened in the 3rd and 4th. Machado Gary got his confidence, figured out how to stand and trade with him, was defending takedowns. Islam was pretty much at about 50% throughout. And even when he did take him down, wasn't inflicting much damage. 4th round, going to be very interesting to see how that would score. Now, ultimately, 2 judges gave it 49-46, 1 48-47.
Against a bigger, strong, rangy guy who has good takedown defense, controlled him, shut him down. I don't know if he was in his head, and Ian felt like he had to come out and shake hands in the 5th round or whatever, but, you know, Islam did exactly what he needed to do to win that fight.
Yeah. Hard fight. It's a good fight, good opponent. And now it's no more Anderson Silva, Islam Makhachev record. I like this. January, end of the year, we have to fight.
Maybe even the end of this year.
Yeah, because I'm not like 20-somethings. I'm 34 years old, and I have to fight.
Carlos Prates will be harder just because he will be more willing to engage in combat, meaning that he's not going to try to run. He's going to engage in fighting Islam.
My interest in seeing Michael Morales take on Islam did not exist until now.
Ben Davis offered a more neutral take, praising both fighters for delivering a genuinely close contest. Joe Rogan acknowledged Islam Makhachev's win, but sounded unconvinced. Rogan said Makhachev was tested in ways not seen in a long time, calling it a difficult fight, and noted that despite winning by a healthy margin, he lacked his usual control and dominance. MMA Guru posted his frustration on social media, calling it the worst possible outcome for a main event. He pointed to the 48-47 decision, noting that outside a head kick in round 2, Makhachev mostly held Ian Garry against the cage and took his back without doing damage in round 5, adding that both fighters' faces told the real story. Brendan Schaub also questioned Makhachev's dominance at welterweight. Schaub wrote that Makhachev won without doubt, but for the first time in a long time looked human inside the octagon and named Michael Morales as a coming problem. Tim Welch praised Makhachev's performance, but raised questions about what comes next for him.
Islam's plan is. Islam might be like,
retire. What's left to do?
What's left to do?
Carlos Prates also called the fight boring. MMA Guru slammed Islam Makhachev's win, calling his performance frustrating and far from impressive.
On him. I hate it, dude.
Dana White praised Islam Makhachev's performance, calling it among the best he's seen and GOAT-worthy.
Explosive, he exploded up and got his back, and once he took his back and put the hooks in, that was a wrap. That he's going to ride that out to the round ends.
Yeah. I felt like this.
But, and, that's how I felt. But on the Islam side, Islam went out, it's the complete opposite now. Against a bigger, strong, rangy guy who has good takedown defense, controlled him, shut him down. I don't know if he was in his head, and Ian felt like he had to come out and shake hands in the 5th round or whatever, but, Islam did exactly what he needed to do to win that fight. Yeah. A big, strong, rangy guy who was doing damn good work. Islam did everything he needed to do to beat this guy. And like I said, there's weight classes for a reason, and tonight's matchup was a perfect example of that.
Ian Garry responded on social media, saying that despite the loss, he exposed weaknesses in Islam Makhachev's strategy.
Tonight was not my night. Islam, your team, congratulations. You guys did amazing. I have nothing but love and respect for everything you guys have done in this sport. I've said that to you. I'll be back. There's plenty of matchups in this sport, plenty of fun matchups that I'm excited for. We'll be back, and we'll be better than ever. I love you all. Let's go, baby. Hey, meu família no chuta box. Caraca. Nessa luta é muito importante pra mim. Te amo muito. Te amo junto e desculpa. Desculpa pra Pra mim, o problema é eu não perder nessa luta. Não tem desculpas. Não tem nada. Eu senti ótimo antes da luta. Eu dançar com minha família aqui, dançar.
Islam Makhachev addressed the strike from Ian Garry that caused his injury, saying it wasn't as brutal as expected.
Don't go forward, you know.
Islam Makhachev agreed with Dana White, noting Ian Garry showed little animosity toward him.
Bro, honestly, I don't understand, man. This is the fight. This is not something we have to like hug each other every round, you know. We're going to war to broke the face, to broke the eye, you know. That's why I respect all my opponents. But Ian, I don't know, he respect too much.
Danny Segura said Ian Garry looked far better than expected, adding that despite the backlash, the result was predictable.
Out here, but both the main and co-main event I read perfectly. I think this is exactly what I had in mind, and I put that out on my staff picks or MMA Junkie, and that's how it went down. I knew this was going to be somewhat of a close fight. It wasn't going to be an easy fight for Makhachev, but in the end, I thought he was going to win, and I thought he was going to win by decision. I didn't think he was going to be able to submit Ian Garry or finish him with strikes. So more or less what I expected, and yeah, not surprised in either direction, really.
Islam Makhachev pointed to Carlos Prates as his likely next opponent, citing his activity and the size of the challenge. Makhachev said Shavkat Rakhmonov isn't fighting, while Prates remains active. He added Michael Morales is good, but he couldn't recall his last fight, calling Prates more deserving. At UFC 330, Prates insisted in a friendly exchange that he'll get the title shot before anyone else.
Let's go right now! Right now! December! I'm gonna beat this one, and then I'm gonna fight him. December! I'm gonna fight this one December, and then I'm gonna fight him. April, June. What do you think?
Islam Makhachev hinted at a potential next fight soon, citing both his age and his desire for new challenges.
Maybe double check my nose.
Tim Welch addressed the pre-fight size debate, noting it was clear who the bigger man was.
See how Islam Makhachev was outsized.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not really on the scale. I bet you both of them walked in there about. I bet you Islam walked in there 192, 193. I bet you Ian Garry was 196, maybe a little over 200.
Despite the facial injuries, Islam Makhachev appeared unaffected mentally, seen walking around the arena, clearly elated about his new record. Luke Thomas called the outcome predictable, a staple of Dagestani fighters.
So in some ways, the fight is maybe a bit of a letdown, both on the action side, which to a degree should have been expected, and also because it seemed somewhat anticlimactic. And I do think Islam stalled a bit in this fight, and I definitely think he parked the bus in the fifth. Which, by the way, he did park the bus a little bit in one of the rounds in the first Volk fight when he got the control of the back as well. So this is not something that worked.
Dana White commented on the main event, taking aim at Ian Garry's flat performance inside the octagon.
I felt like tonight was set up for the upset. I felt like the upset could happen tonight with so much on the line, all the records that Islam has, and he's going to break Anderson Silva's record. There's weight classes for a reason. Ian Garry is a big, rangy, strong guy who has great takedown defense. I mean, if you look at his takedown defense tonight against Islam, it was impressive. I felt like, I think that Ian is a talented guy. If he had even an ounce of killer instinct in that fifth round, you know, he had been beating him to the body. Islam's whole, I think, right side was beat up. His face was beat up. You don't come out and hug and shake hands in the fight. That drives me crazy when there's so much at stake.
Ariel Helwani noted Islam Makhachev defended his title, but questions now surround his standing.
He is still not a GOAT.
Third round was probably his worst round. Fourth round, clearly two of the judges gave it to him. I don't agree. And then he comes back and he rallies, busted up, and wins the fifth. So I'm not taking anything away from Islam whatsoever. I do think there's a strong case to be made that he is among the greatest of all time. I still think like that was his 7th victory in a title fight, his 6th title defense. A reminder that John Jones had 16 title fight victories. DJ's record is 12 in a row as far as title defenses are concerned. And so while he did surpass Anderson's record, I still think there's a little bit more work to be done. He did tie Khabib's victory record, 29 wins. He does have the loss against Adriano Martins. So these are things that are all adding up. I don't think he is the GOAT per se. I don't even think that matters.
MMA guru mocked the idea of Islam Makhachev facing Carlos Prates, predicting sarcastically how that fight would unfold. Tim Welch said the better contender to handle Islam Makhachev is Michael Morales, not Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates is recruiting wrestlers and grapplers to prepare for a fight with Islam Makhachev. Conor McGregor posted on social media in defense of Ian Garry, criticizing Islam Makhachev's performance. McGregor wrote that 5 rounds produced nothing but clinching, calling it boring apart from one kick. He argued mixed martial arts should be a striking contest, not constant clinching and stalling. McGregor added that fans want 5 rounds of active striking, not ground control, and said the Dagestani style leans too heavily on wrestling and holding opponents down, hurting the sport's entertainment value. Dillon Danis backed McGregor, saying he wants to face Makhachev himself and calling revenge a dish best served cold. MMA guru also criticized both Islam and those defending him online. Tell us your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more MMA updates. Ariel Helwani agreed, pointing to the disappointing finish and the scores handed down by the judges.
And it was looking very early on like it was going to be another Islam Makhachev masterclass, certainly after the first 2 rounds. But a funny thing happened in the 3rd and 4th. Machado Garry got his confidence, figured out how to stand and trade with him, was defending takedowns. Islam was pretty much at about 50% throughout. And even when he did take him down, wasn't inflicting much damage. 4th round, going to be very interesting to see how that would score. Now, ultimately, 2 judges gave it 49-46, one 48-47. I suspect those judges who gave it 49-46 for Ian had that 4th round for Islam. I vehemently disagree with that.
Luke Thomas credited Islam Makhachev's milestones, but still called the win a very unsatisfactory performance.
Right? So the fight kind of played out under the basic expectations of what most of us were looking for here, to be quite honest with you. It wasn't very, very surprising in that sense. And I don't know how you guys feel about this fight. Do you feel like you were let down by it? Did you feel a little bored by it? Certainly the co-main event was deeply unimpressive. Maybe you feel like you didn't get your entertainment's worth, but I feel like for me, the standard of excellence that Islam Makhachev routinely sets is he is one of the best fighters I've just ever seen. He is one of the most, if not the most complete fighter at an elite level.
Danny Segura called it underwhelming for a pound-for-pound champion, contrasting his lightweight and welterweight runs.
You gotta think that there's more exciting fights for maybe not more exciting fights for him, because I think there's equal the amount of matchups at 170 in terms of fights that are appealing. However, I do think that in terms of like the product that he puts out there as a fighter, I do think he himself can be a more exciting fighter at 155 just because he can do more. He can do more damage. Like, for example, that head kick that he connected on Garry, he might have knocked somebody out and maybe gone on to submit them at 155, right? Having, a strength and size advantage in that weight class. So in those terms, that excites me. However, in terms of like just watching a motherfucker just try to push legacy as far as he can and trying to achieve as much as he can and trying to break records as he did, breaking Anderson Silva's 16-fight win streak,